Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to another action figure review, as today we're going to be taking a look at one of my all-time favorite brands, and that's none other than Small Soldiers, released by Hasbro in 1998. Now, as a quick little backstory, Small Soldiers was a movie that I saw with my father in theaters in 1998, and it was one of the best experiences that I had because it involved these mystical creatures fighting these toy soldiers, and it's just a really great combination. And we can see here that we have mostly all the Gorgonites here, but we have majority of the Commando Elites. Now you will notice that there's only 4 out of the 6 Commando Elites, as Butch Meathook and Link Static are missing, which is very unfortunate. However, I do have all the Gorgonites here, which is fantastic, and I'm very glad that they did offer that. And you will also notice that there are some new characters added into this roster. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and take a look at the Gorgonites first, and then we're going to take a look at the Commando Elites. So let's go ahead and take a look at all these figures. Alright, so the first figure we're going to be taking a look at here is Archer, leader of the Gorgonites, and this figure is just absolutely awesome. I love the facial expression on this figure. It captures the perfect feline-esque of this particular character from the world of Gorgonites, emissary of the Gorgonites, and it just looks amazing. Now, I apologize for the dust on these figures. They have been on the shelf for a while, but it has the nice green pupils. Just the overall sculpting on these figures just came out really well. I love the little amulet that he has around his neck, and then the little straps and stuff, the sculpting on the legs, all that little armor and detail came out really well. The forearms have the gauntlets, which are really nicely detailed as well. And overall, I just will say that even if it has minimal articulation, for the fact that they incorporated all this is just absolutely great, and I love it. It's one of my favorite figures as a kid, and he does come with a really cool sword, which I do like. And again, you can see that they did incorporate some pins and within the elbows and knees and stuff for all these figures, assuming that there should have been articulation there at the elbows and knees and stuff, but unfortunately they did not include that, which really is the biggest downfall of these figures. But again, it's just, they did a really great job, especially having the quiver bag with his other accessories and weapons, which came out really well. Diverse colors here with the maroons, browns, and silvers, and muted colors as well, really giving Archer that fantastic character vibe, which looks just amazing. And then we can see here in the back that he does have his famous bow and arrow that he uses within the movie, which is really good. And then he just you can either use it as the sword or you can use it as the bow and arrow instead. But with all these accessories, he can't really hold it because the right arm is an open hand, but for what it's worth, it just, as a whole, it's a really, really great looking figure. And I think NECA would be the only company to really make this figure come back to life. But overall, I will say it's a great looking figure, and I'm just overall pleased and happy to have this guy in my collection. So that is Archer, leader of the Gorgonites. Alright, and up next we're going to be taking a look at Scratch It and Punch It. And because they're both a dynamic duo within the movie, I'm going to look at both of them at the same time. But the first figure we're going to be taking a look at here is Scratch It, who's basically very similar to like a tadpole-esque, and this is a female within the Gorgonites roster, and this character basically hops around and bounces, but the overall aesthetic of it is just not too much to offer other than really nice sculpting around the eyes, and then the teeth came out pretty cool. Nice gradient coloring between the oranges and the yellows, which I do like. And kind of pegs in right there in the back of the figure of Punch It. But other than that, there's not too much to say about it, but I'm just happy that they even included this figure because it's it's a very weird and bizarre looking creature, but again, it is from the mystical world of Gorgon, so can't go wrong with that. So really cool looking character, can't complain, and it's just nice to have into the collection. And now we're going to be taking a look at Punch It, which is a fantastic looking figure. Now there are other color variants of this figure in terms of the design aspect of coloration that he has on his facial features, but this one is just beautiful. Look at all that detail, look at all that armor, look at all that beautiful sculpting and coloring, the nice blues and purples, and just the chains and stuff. Now, if you imagine this in modern articulation and modern sculpting, they would have had it like, you know, these movable chains and stuff, but just the coloring on the nails and all that just came out very well done. I love the lime green eyes, and he's basically considered a Brontotherier, so you can tell by the horns on his head. But again, I just love how this entire figure turned out, even the back. He does have the gimmick of like this missile launcher, which is pretty cool, and he comes with this really nice spiked wrist gauntlet thing, which is really awesome. Shows that he's badass and a force to reckon with, which pegs into the right forearm. If it had some shading there, but again, it's 1998, so can't say too much about it. But overall, I will say this figure is just beyond beautiful, and I just love these little spikes that are sticking out from the shoulder pads and then the wrist gauntlets, even the front torso and stuff. But yeah, just the overall facial expression, the features, he just looks like a figure that's not to mess with. And he was like kind of a powerhouse to the team, so really great looking character and just fantastic. So yeah, can't really praise this figure too much. It's one of the beefiest and bulkiest figures within the Gorgonites roster, but again, really freaking I just love this figure. So just place Scratch It right there on top of him and kind of sits in there like that. So, and I will say I also do love his little horns that stick out right there. Just absolutely beautiful, and the texturing that they put here on the torso, this is just fantastic. I can't praise this figure enough. So that is Punch It and Scratch It. Alright, and the next figure we're going to take a look at here is Slamfist, who is another good looking character. Now, the biggest flaw about this figure is that you can see that he should have had articulation there because they have sculpted the pin joints, but there is no articulation at any of the elbows. Even you can see the sculpting right there. So no articulation at the knees or elbows. It's just very unfortunate, because had this figure had this kind of articulation, it would have been one of the greatest. But I do love the facial expression. He kind of has like that derpy face, kind of like a hunchback type ogre type figure. I do love how he has all like that fur sculpted on there, which really gives it like in one of those ancient times, which I like, with the strap holding on to it to giving it more of a comforting feel to it. The bandages and then the straps, and then the boulder that's on his left arm is also very nicely sculpted. Yeah, just very nicely done. And he has like a funnier scenes in the movie where again he's more like derpy-ish, but the feet are sculpted nice. He has the brown sandals, and the spots came out really well, and you can see that there is some sculpted texturing right there on the legs and stuff like that. So he does come with his sledgehammer nicely sculpted there too. You can see it's been through some battle damage, has a lot of the wooden panels, and then the straps around it, some golds and browns, could have been for the pins and stuff, but still, other than that, it's a really good looking figure, and just happy to have Slamfist into the collection. So that is Slamfist. Up next, we're going to be taking a look at Troglokhan, aka Freakenstein, who is basically the navigator. And in the movie, Irwin basically says he's Troglokhan, the navigator who navigates, and that was a pretty funny scene. So if this figure looks very odd to you, and if you haven't seen the movie, that's simply because he was a really cool looking character, but the Commando Elites actually destroyed him, and the Gorgonites actually rebuilt the figure using Alan's dad's radio. So you can see there's a lot of radio mechanics there, very nicely sculpted. Again, I apologize for all the dust, but a lot of great sculpting went into this figure. It just looks great, and so much detail, so much effort. Like, it's just freaking great. He has the gimmick there which moves the wooden panel there up and down, which is pretty cool. And then the facial expression just is great. Now, I really wish that they would have given us the other version as well, but because this is pretty much how he looked in the movie, it works for what it is. And the funny part is that when the Gorgonites were putting him back together, they assembled him wrong by putting the feet where the arm is and the arm where the foot is. So there's just all these parts just, you know, all over the place to show you that he's kind of been put together by the other figures. So he has the armor shield right there, which looks really nice, and then the chain sticking down, the boots, for one of his feet. He's holding the dagger. It does stand very nice, and then he has the logo there as well, but the stitching giving that Freakenstein look, very, very cool. So other than that, I'm just very impressed with the amount of detail and effort they put into it, giving us all those gears and stuff into the figure, and just having it look like a horrible scientific experiment and stuff like that. So you wouldn't expect them to make this figure, but they actually did, and it's beautiful. So that is Troglokhan, aka Freakenstein. Alright, and up next we're going to be taking a look at Insaniac and Miniac. Now, Miniac was a character I believe came in the PlayStation 1 game, but he was not incorporated into the movie, but this is a nice addition into the Small Soldiers line, which I really do love. He is freaking jacked and looks insane. Not much articulation as he just has his hand sticking up like that, but he does have the crazy hair, the crazy eye, and the small eye inside with the nice grinning teeth. And I just love how he's basically in that greenish color, and not much else to it, but the hair looks really nice, and yeah, very dope facial expression. So that is Miniac. Next, we're going to be taking a look at Insaniac, and this figure is very nicely sculpted as well. He's basically that character who spins around in circles and acts just like his name mentions, as it is Insaniac. His gimmick is that he does spin left and right, which is really cool, but I just love the crazy grin on his face, the big left eye, the small right eye, the teeth, the little chain that he has around his neck, the veins and skin all sticking out like that, the ball and chain accessory, which is really dope. I mean, it's awesome. The nice attention to detail on the nails and the arms, the forearms, all that stuff, and just so much work went into these old figures that I really do miss it. And just the handcuffs right there looking really cool. And you know, if this figure was made in modern day with more shading and stuff, you can tell this figure would really pop out and be like fantastic. But overall, it's just one of those figures that you have to admire it for the time that it came in, because look at all that unique detail and sculpting that they had to put into this figure, which makes it very underrated for that matter. And his little wild ass hair, just love how he has like that red bandage over the blue skin tones, which maybe there's more to him underneath it, which makes it great for storytelling. Other than that, not too much to say, but just really cool. And I love how he holds his right arm to help him pose or help him stand with his leg and his big toe kind of sticking outwards as well. So really, damn, great figure, great sculpting. So that is Insaniac, and that is Miniac. Alright, and up next we're going to be taking a look at probably the most disappointing figure of the whole Gorgonites wave, which is Ocula. And this figure was part of the, I believe, Burger King toy meal. Ocula is one of the tallest characters within the Small Soldiers Gorgonites world, but as this is the only version that we have, because it has like those suction cups right there, and he has that one eye, which does look really nice. But if this was a more movie accurate, it would have been absolutely fantastic. But this is basically all that we got, and it's like the bendy wire there and all that stuff, so sticks on to the walls or the fridge, I guess. I will say there is some nice details within whatever this Happy Meal kind of thing can offer, but again, I really wish that there was a more proper and accurate version to this, because you can see here by the suction cups he has his original fingers or whatever, which is how it was in the movie, but because this is like which kind of places down onto it, it just looks just weird and not the best that it could be. So really disappointing of a figure, but again, I just like at least they gave us, you know, Ocula to complete the Gorgonites collection. So not much else to say other than not satisfied, but just happy that they gave it to us. So that is Ocula. And last but not least, now this figure is a welcoming addition into the Gorgonites, as I don't really consider him as part of the Gorgonites, or maybe he is, but he's also part of the Belch Brigade. Now, if you remember from the beginning of the movie that this was a prototype that the owner of Play Heartland Toys was actually holding in his hand, and when you press his stomach, like it would burp or fart or whatever, so it just wasn't a type of character that he enjoyed. But The character Nibble here is a really cool addition into this line because I believe he was also in the Small Soldiers PS1 game. So I love that multicolored purple and red or maroon, looking really nice. Dope facial expressions with the grinning teeth and half-looking eyes. Very nice sculpting for a tiny figure. All these purple scales and skin bubbles and stuff like that. No articulation or anything, but just overall a very, very good sculpt. So that is Nibble. But when looking at Flatchoo, this figure is pretty dope, and I'm very surprised that they actually gave us this figure because, again, not necessarily part of the Gorgonites, but part of the Belch Brigade. But I love the multicolored of the yellows and oranges and reds, and he does have a pop-out gimmick where this would stick out kind of like a missile launcher. But I love his little blade right there, which looks incredible, nicely sculpted and detailed for what it is. Facial expression, teeth sticking out very well, eyes look really good. Not too much aesthetic of the figure, but still a nice addition to the roster and team, and it really pops out because he's, red and orange and yellow compared to the other colors. Just press the gimmick right there and this will shoot out. And other than that, really cool. Love the little pimples and things sticking out from the veins and stuff, and then a little fur sculpted on there on the side with little straps and stuff. So yeah, look at that, nice detail, very job well done. No articulation, but again they sculpted the pins and stuff, so damn, very much of a missed target and opportunity, but it is what it is. So other than that, I'm very happy that they added these two characters into the lineup because again, it's such a wild card. So that is Flatchoo and Nibble. Now, of course, it wouldn't be proper if I didn't look at all the Gorgonites together. So here we have Insaniac, we have Troglokhan, aka Freakenstein, Miniac, Archer, Punch It and Scratch It, Ocula, Flatchoo, and Slamfist. So again, all fantastic looking figures, and you can see that Hasbro actually really did create all of the Gorgonites. There's not one character missing, but on top of that, they added 3 new characters into this lineup. So fantastic. I just love how all of these look, and beyond beautiful to at least own into my collection. So you just can't go wrong with Small Soldiers. It is a fantastic movie, fantastic property, and very underrated. So if you're any 90s toy fan or toy collector, you have to have these into your collection because it would be a disservice if you don't have it. So even if some are too movie accurate, at least they gave us some bonus figures as well. So freaking beautiful. So these are the Gorgonites. Alright, and now we're going to be taking a look at the Commando Elites as we have Major Chip Hazard. Now, this guy is no stranger to the toy collecting community because he is absolutely one of the most well-known toy soldiers of all time, and you cannot go wrong with this guy. Voiced by Tommy Lee Jones, and I just love the Commando Elites logo right there on the right arm. But just the fact that these toy soldiers of the military part, they come alive kind of like a rated R Toy Story type, and then kicking ass. As a kid, I thought that these were supposed to be the good guys and then the Gorgonites were the bad guys, but lo and behold, these military men ended up being the bad guys, and then due to the X-1000 chips, and then the Gorgonites ended up being the good guys. But overall, these characters just look fantastic. I love the facial expression, love the grenades there, the camo vest, and then the camo pants, and then the shiny boots, all looking really well. I am missing the missile that goes into the launcher right here, so that's quite unfortunate, but he does have the gun and stuff. One of the things I do like about this figure is that I love how he has the green and yellows, which really does contrast against each other with the walkie-talkie, and then the gray hair, the nice fade top as well, flat top, and just overall gives you that major, super aesthetic of the military style, which is just so badass. Again, no articulation there, but a really great looking figure, and overall just fantastic to own into the collection. So man, I really wish that the original 12-inch versions were all made, but there's customizers out there, but for the official Hasbro releases, this is the best that we got. And I forgot to talk about that he is holding that cool looking gun. But so that is Major Chip Hazard. Next, we're going to be taking a look at Nitro, who is another badass character, part of the Commando Elites. Now, as a spoiler, this character does die in the movie, which is very unfortunate because he gets his half of the body destroyed within the grinder in the kitchen, the food dispenser, but overall the facial expression looks great. Teeth, the higher eyebrows, and then the mohawk, the grenades, the lime green shirt with the camo pants, and all like the dynamites that he comes with. He has a tattoo that says kaboom, pretty funny. He does have this giant ass gimmick and missile launcher thing where if you press this right here, these missiles kind of like explode, shoot out through the air hoses right there, which is really awesome. Sticks out like a sore thumb and very top heavy, but overall I just love the color aesthetics and themes of all these figures, and just looks really dope. So a really nice looking character, detailed very well, and some scratches here and there, but again, dog tags very nicely done, side profile looking pretty cool. So again, love the camo designs and the boots and all that stuff. So fantastic looking figure, I love it, and it's just happy to see that they do come out with all these gimmicks and stuff. So that is Nitro. So up next, we're going to be taking a look at a very rare figure, part of the Small Soldiers lineup, part of the Commando Elites. We have Kip Killian. Now, when I say rare, I mean absolutely rare, because he is one of the hardest ones to find, and I'm very fortunate and lucky enough to have him. I love the facial expression, I love the blue eyes, I love the bandana. He does come with a gimmick where the torso splits open in half, but it's just stupid. But overall, I love the camo designs on this guy, the hefty boots, the blades that he comes with, which is hidden on the side of his forearms, which is really cool because when you spin him around in circles, he swings the blades like crazy. The gun is pretty cool, and then the back of the figure, just overall, you can see the gimmick that you can kind of like move left and right, but he does have a blade right there on the side of his boot, and then another one right there on the sheath. So that the bandolier does have like all the ammo, the bullets right there hanging on the sides right there, but then it's colored green on the back, which I guess they got a little bit lazier on this. But again, the whole aesthetic of this figure, just the menacing facial expression is just so great, and he just looks fantastic. And I love the strap with the little star kind of symbols right there. And yeah, right there, got a tattoo with a broken heart. Pretty funny. So yeah, pretty cool looking character. Again, when I say rare, I mean he is absolutely rare. Go ahead and check him out on eBay and see how much he's going for, because again, it's just one of those figures that is absolutely needed because, again, he's Kip Killian. What can I say? Great figure. So, yeah, that is Kip Killian. Alright, and last but not least, part of the Commando Elites, we have Brick Bazooka. He is another fantastic looking figure, and a figure that was also injured in the movie. You can see that he does have some cuts right there within the torso because it is part of his gimmick where he turns into this really weird ass launcher that sticks out of his head, which is, again, it's very weird. I love his crazy facial expression, the big mouth and teeth sticking out, the buzz cut, all looking really dope. The green tee with the green camo designs, all looking pretty cool with the little bluish silver tones right there on the knee pads. Not too bad. He does come with heavy artillery, which I do like, and he's very muscular, nicely sculpted. Again, the backpack of this looks pretty cool, but again, he sticks out like a sore thumb because the missile would actually stick out from his chest, which I'm not going to show because you can see the gimmick right there. But again, I just like to look at the figure for what it is. Overall, a great looking figure, and he goes one of the hardcore missions within the movie, and looks great. I love the little strap that goes around there with a little belt and stuff like that. So yeah, great looking figure. So that is Brick Bazooka. Alright, now in case you're wondering what all the Commando Elites look like together, here we have Kip Killian, Brick Bazooka, Major Chip Hazard, and Nitro. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that they are missing two characters, which is Butch Meathook and Link Static. So Why those two figures were never made, I will never know, but it's very, very unfortunate because we were so close of having a complete roster of the Commando Elites, and the fact that we didn't get it is just very, very frustrating because, again, look how badass all these figures look. Even if it's not movie scale accurate, at least this figures do look very menacing and badass with each other, and I just love how they all come with their own unique individual weapons and look pretty accurate to the movie for being in the smaller scale style figures. So it's beautiful. I just love the Commando Elites. They're amazing, one of my all-time favorite movies, like I said, and just can't go wrong with them. They're just a badass group of characters, and hopefully something can happen in the future where another company can remake these figures, and you can bet your ass I'll be one of the first ones to buy it. So that is the Commando Elites. Alright, you guys, so that was my 1998 Small Soldiers collection. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.